I grew up in a small, rural farming town in South Dakota, a town by the name of Bowell. And as a child, I thought that our community, our town, was healthy and vibrant. We had our own school, we had our own summer Little League, we had our own hospital, our own grocery store. But little did I know, as a child, as I was growing up in this small town, that the community as a whole was shrinking. Like many small, rural farming communities in South Dakota, my small town was dying. The U.S. Department of Agriculture reports that from 2000 to 2009, there were population losses in 47 rural counties in South Dakota. Moreover, they report that between 1973 and 2009, the number of farms in South Dakota has declined from 45,500 to 31,500, a decline of nearly 31%. So why this decline in population? Why this decline in the number of farms? Why this general ruin of rural South Dakota? The answer: corporate farms. I'm going to give you today 3 reasons why corporate farming should be abolished in South Dakota. First, corporate farming hurts small farms. Second, corporate farming hurts our communities. And third, corporate farming hurts our environment. Now, despite popular opinion, corporations are not the result of free market competition, but a direct result of government intervention. You see, corporate farms have an economic advantage over small farms because the policies of the state hold that corporate shareholders are not responsible or legally liable for the actions of the corporation. You see, for instance, if you were going to buy a share in Corporation X, and you went on E-Trade, bought some shares, and then Corporation X went to do some shady activity, illegal activity, and got caught, would the police come and knock down your door as a shareholder and drag you off to jail? No, because you are not personally liable for the actions of the corporation. You see, this makes investments in corporations less risky, so corporations can raise more capital. Because corporations can raise more capital, they can buy larger amounts of resources at lower prices. Because they can do this, they can sell their product at lower prices, necessarily pushing out small farmers. Corporations hurt our farms. But that's not the only reason to abolish corporate farming in South Dakota, because corporate farms also hurt our communities. In 1986, a U.S. congressional study from the Office of Technological Assessment looked at how industry and farming affects communities, and they found that as farm size increased, so did poverty in surrounding communities. This study was corroborated by David Peters in 2002, who was a professor at Iowa State University. He looked at children at risk data for 278 non-metropolitan counties in Iowa, Kansas, and Missouri. He found that as industrial agriculture, as corporate farming increased, the result was worse socioeconomic conditions for children in those counties. So corporate farming, the type of farming that surrounds a community, affects that community. Another reason why corporate farming should be abolished in South Dakota is that corporate farms hurt our environment. Marlene Halverson from the Institute of Agriculture and Trade Policy wrote a book called The Price We Pay for Corporate Hogs. Now, she observed that corporate farms tend to be larger because there's less risk involved, they can gain more capital and become larger. And as they get larger, they tend to do one type of operation on a mass scale, whether it be one type of crop or raise one type of particular type of livestock. In her case, she looked at hog farms. Well, when you have hogs all gathered together in concentration, a large number, you have a lot of manure. Now, if you were in a diversified farm, you could spread this manure on your crops and use it use it responsibly. However, on corporate farms, the manure just piles up into lagoons, and you not only have odor problems, but you also have ground and surface water contamination. That's the water that you and I drink. Corporate farming hurts the environment. Today I've given you 3 reasons why corporate farming should be abolished in South Dakota. First, it hurts small farms. Second, it hurts our communities. Third, it hurts our environment. Now, despite South Dakota having a long history of anti-corporate farming legislation, today we lack an effective policy to abolish corporate farms. So I put the challenge to you. Next time a petition comes around to abolish corporate farming in South Dakota, please sign it. And when you vote for a legislative representative, please make sure that they are in favor of abolishing corporate farming in South Dakota. I put the challenge to you to act for the sake of our small farms, for the sake of our communities, for the sake of our environment. Thank you.